Fox loves the young
That I
actor.
still love it as much as I did, if not more.
I love that too. I love that too. Let me ask you, what is your ideal role? At this age, you know this is going to change when they ask you this in the next 5 to 10 years. But for right now, at 19, what is the ideal role that you would like to play? Like a dream role.
I always like to play roles that are so different from who I am as a person,
Okay.
and I like to tap into characters that do not represent me at all. So I kind of like to play almost the crazy people or the mean people or somebody
The
close like that.
villain.
Exactly, because I'm like
Yes.
I'm not. That's not who I am. So
So
let me
your
play.
parents support everything you do in this industry. I know I met your mom, who is absolutely fabulous. But it has been. Do they worry about you at times, or feel do they have opinions about certain roles that you play? Because you're technically an adult now. They don't have to sign off on anything. So how does that work in your household?
They've been beyond supportive. I think I honestly, truthfully have some of the best parents to ever exist. And I
That's
am so
awesome.
grateful for them because I think they would support me no matter what I do as long as I'm being
Hmm.
safe and that kind of thing. I
Hmm.
love them to death. But, it was hard for them in the beginning because first off, they worried about me being safe, but then they also worried about me failing. Not that they wanted me to fail, of course,
Yes.
but there's always that thing in the back of their mind where they're like, yes, of course I will support you 1,000 times, but we're worried. This is a super
Yes.
competitive industry and
Yes.
you hear so many negative experiences that
Yes.
I'm sure it overwhelmed them. Um, but lately, I've been having so many positive experiences that I guess they've kind of realized that, you know what, you're
This-
always you're always gonna come to us if you need us, so
yes.
that's good.
Yes. Yes.
But they've been
The
wonderful.
Angela Foxworth Show. Live outside
Hello,
the box.
hello, hello. It is me, Angela Foxworth of the Angela Foxworth Show. You guys know that I am always interviewing with a purpose, and today is no different. I am so excited to have this young actress. That's right, I said actress on my platform. See, you thought it was just political people, activists. No, sweetie, I'm entertainment. We have to have some entertainment. So I am just excited today to have Miss Anna, and I want you to tell our audience your name, what it is you do, and I know this is not the question we typically ask, but I want you to tell our audience how old you are and how long you've been doing what you're doing today.
Awesome. Well, hi, my name is Anna Stadler. I am an actress, a model, and a songwriter. And I am 19 years old. I have been acting professionally in film and TV for about 3 years now.
Listen, 19 years old. Okay. Listen, I can say I remember when I was 19. But I can't really remember, to be honest with you. It's been so long ago. But 19 years old, right? First of all, I want to ask you, how did you know? And at what age did you realize this is something that you really wanted to do?
Well, it's actually a funny story because it's a funny story among my parents and my family that know me very, very well because as soon as I could speak, I was acting. And that's only a slight exaggeration. And I grew up acting. I would put on one act plays, one person plays. And I did that, I think, at the start of like 4 years old, something crazy like that.
Wow.
Right. And
Wow.
I continued that through most of my life until I was 16 years old in high school. And I came to my acting coach and I said, listen, I love theater, I love acting, but I just feel like it's not suited for my skill set. And he was like, okay, well, what's a passion of yours? And I was like, I think film and TV. And so I slowly transitioned to that when I was 16 years old. And like I said, I've been doing it for 3 years and it's definitely a passion, something that I will always be enamored with. I love it to death.
I That is just, it blows my mind. It really does. So, like, when you first told him that, what was the first process from that point? Like your first audition, and how did you feel? And were you nervous? Because a lot of people do feel like when it's something you're destined to do, that there's like no nerves involved. Because to be honest with you, I literally know that I was created to interview. And it's so funny because I was never a nosy person. I always minded my business, right? But when people would be talking, I would always be thinking to myself, she ain't telling the full story, or she just telling them people what she want to tell them. I would like really be like, oh my God, I could get it out of her. I know how, what she could say. And I've always, and I knew that at 11 years old. So of course, my path took a whole different direction. So to be able to say, at high school age, hey, I think this is something that I want to do. This doesn't fit my skill set. Then the next, transition is, okay, now it's time to audition for an industry that, let's just be honest, is completely competitive. This to me is one of the entertainment. It's a whole nother kid and caboodle. You talk about, having to deal with high school issues and different things like that. When you get in entertainment, it's a whole nother level. So with all of that being said, when you decided, what was your like first audition and how did you feel?
My first audition actually wasn't for a TV show or a movie. I actually
Wow.
auditioned for a talent agency because I said, you know what, if I want to make this my dream and my passion, I might as well do it right and correctly. And so I auditioned for my first talent agency, and the line was out the door. So I was like, oh, I'm definitely not going to get this. And sure enough, I auditioned and I sat in my little corner, and they're like, hey, we want to offer you a contract on the spot. And I was like,
That
oh, I
is
was I was very
awesome.
shocked. And very shocked, needless to say. And as soon as I was offered that, I just began acting and auditioning. And I was nervous. I'm not a super nervous person. So it was kind of weird to experience all of those nerves at one time, especially being
Yeah.
16 years old and very, very new to this. But I loved it. Such a great experience.
That is awesome. And you know what's funny though? They always say in our youth, we really do take chances. Like those are the times when we don't have as much fear as you would as an adult, because once life happens, you start to second guess yourself. You start to think, is this really something that I'm, destined to do? And then you have, like the people in your circle. So how has that been? Like, you have friends that are on this journey with. Has it been great for you guys? Has it been challenging? Do they support what you do? Tell me a little bit about that.
I have two different sets of friends, which is kind of
Okay.
weird to say. I have my friends that have nothing to do with the industry, don't want
Okay.
anything to do with the industry. And then I have my industry friends that I've met kind of along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both very different from each other, both wonderful. But
Yeah.
my non-industry friends are super supportive, but they honestly have no idea what I do because they don't fully comprehend it. They don't understand,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
they've been beyond supportive, and I love them so much. And they'll text me quite often. They knew I had an interview today, and they're like, oh my God, I hope you do well. I know you're going to. And
That is
then
awesome.
right. And then my industry friends, I've been lucky enough to meet along the way. Some are 30 years older than me. I mean, it's
Yes.
crazy. And they've
Yeah.
treated me with such kindness, and they've helped me. I'm young,
Yeah.
so they've kind of been great mentors, and told me, you know what, this is how you do things. And this has been my experience. And I'm really, really grateful to have both people in my life.
That is a beautiful, beautiful dynamic. I find that, with family and close friends who are not industry related, when you say they have no idea what I do, let me tell you, I could even say, hey, I just wrote a book. They're like, oh, that's great. Just tell me where to get it at. Oh, hello, I just wrote a book. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Exactly.
but I feel like, especially for me, I think it keeps me grounded. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, I think it keeps me from getting so caught up in this world, because this is truly a world of imagination. You
Hmm.
get to be somebody different. You get to imagine something strange. You get to ride on a red carpet, so to speak, in the
Exactly.
movies. And so I think that, having that, you know, grounding helps you to be able to facilitate through this process. Do you feel that way?
I do. I think so too. And going back to what you were saying, like, oh, I just wrote a book. When can I read it? My friends and family members that are not in the industry, they're always like, I'll film something and they'll be like, well, can I watch it tomorrow? And I'm like, no, of course not. So I love that. And it never
Yes,
gets
they
old when
don't know
people
that
say
it's kind
that.
of like a process. Like even when I did these, I'm doing these interviews. So I do social drops, to let people know what to anticipate. But we're technically not going to go into production. Well, not going to be on television until June. So people are always like, what? What do you mean? I'm not going to be seen till June. I'm like, listen, they're going to know it's coming. But like anything else, it takes time for production. It just does.
The process.
Yes, it is. So let me ask you this. Since you've been in this industry, what has surprised you about the industry that you didn't know before? And then what is exactly what you expected it to be?
What surprised me the most is I feel like there's this like preconceived notion or misconception that everybody in the industry are like they're brats and they're super mean and they're super rude. And I've not had that experience so far. For
That's
the
awesome.
most part, everybody has been so welcoming and just beyond kind and compassionate. So I just think that's kind of crazy as I was expecting one thing and totally got the exact opposite.
Awesome.
Um, One thing that I knew kind of going in is honestly that I was going to love this. I tend to be the personality type where when I love something, I'm going to put my heart and soul and everything that I have into it. And it hasn't changed. If anything, my love for acting has grown exponentially the more experiences that I've had.
Mhm.
So I think that's just so wonderful. I'm glad that I still love it as much as I did, if not more.
I love that too. I love that too. Let me ask you, what is your ideal role? At this age, this is going to change when they ask you this in the next 5 to 10 years. But for right now, at 19, what is the ideal role that you would like to play? Like a dream role.
I always like to play roles that are so different from who I am as a person.
Okay.
And I like to tap into characters that do not represent me at all. So I kind of like to play almost the crazy people or the mean people or somebody
The
close like that.
villain.
Exactly, because I'm like,
Yes.
that's not who I am. So let me play that because that's going to be
Yes.
so fun, like a
Yeah,
thrill.
you know what? I think I'm the same way. I've never thought about acting or anything like that. When I was in high school, I was the lead in a play called Raise a Ruckus, and I was the daughter who poisoned all the neighbors' chickens.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
And it was a musical, but I did, say that like now as I watch people act or whatever, I'm the same way. Like I would like to play this like voluptuous vixen who just like stirs up and wreaks havoc all over the place. But
Hmm.
my personality in real life is that I'm a true peacemaker. But
Hmm.
I do find that I am attracted because I'm so fluffy and I'm always, oh, it's gonna
Right.
be okay, kind of thing. I do like
Right.
matter of fact. People are like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I tend to attract to those real matter of fact, serious types, because
Right.
I'm
Me
nothing
too.
like that.
Me too. I'm such a pacifist in my real life, so I'm like, I want to play somebody crazy that just kills people all over and is the villain that you're supposed to really hate.
You know what? I could see you on one of them LMN movies. Okay. I actually had not watched Lifetime movies in a very long time. And like I got maybe like about a month ago an opportunity to just kind of binge watch stuff. And I said, I'm always catching up on my shows. I'm gonna watch Lifetime Movie Network. Oh my God, everybody was killing everybody. I was like, when did we come to this part of Lifetime? I said, I remember when Lifetime was like Hallmark movies. Everything was so
Hmm.
sweet and kind. Now it's like deranged neighbors, babysitters who are crazy. I was
Right.
like, oh my God, but it was hilarious. Just watching that all day, I was like addicted. The whole day I binge
Hmm.
watch all kind of crazy psychopaths. And I see now why men say, hey, don't let your wife watch those movies. You know what I'm saying? Keep them away. So for somebody that's up and coming in this industry, how would you encourage them? Because it is not an easy industry. And of course, there are going to be times when people who set out to do this may get rejection. what would you tell somebody who really believes this is what they're, destined to do, how to stay above all of the challenges?
I think it certainly is a challenge. And I think at times it's super overwhelming and almost disheartening because I read a study and a statistic that said you will audition 150 to 200 times before you get that yes. So you're going to hear no 150 to 200 times. That's a lot of no's. That kind of
Yes.
would take weight on a person. So the one thing I would say is to just keep going. Like look at your future, look ahead of you, and see things that positive things. I think that's a wonderful thing when you can take all of the no's and turn those into, well, it wasn't meant to be. That's always been something that's comforted me. Well,
Yes.
it wasn't meant to be, but my yes is going to be so wonderful that it's
Yeah.
going to almost overpower all of those no's. That's
I
always
love
kind of how
that.
I've seen it.
Yes, now that is positivity plus. I love that. Because this is a tough industry. And what I have grown, I've kind of gotten like rebellious about it. And I think it's because like in my world, I've broken some glass ceilings that I never thought that number one, I'd be able to do, but then to be, picked for certain things that I got picked for, to win a national pageant crown that I never thought I judged pageants. I never was in a pageant. And then I let people convince me, oh, you should be a pageant woman. I'm like, girl, I'm not pageant material. And then I did it, because I wanted to face those kind of fears. And to be honest, what I've learned is when I hear a no now, that it used to be devastating. Like, oh my God, can't believe this, is this really for me? Blah, blah, blah. Now I'm almost like, hold that thought. You gonna say yes eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing no today, but by tomorrow you're gonna be saying yes. It's like it now like fuels me because I feel like you do have to get conditioned to get used to the no's, because you do have to think about it in an industry with millions of people, in this industry, to be able to, stand out. It's really difficult. It's like almost playing lottery. So
Right.
you do get used to just hearing, oh, well, it may not work out this time or whatever the case may be. But the one that gets me is going to know that I'm the prize. And if they know I'm the prize and it works, then all those no's are going to come back eventually and say, hey, I want to talk to you. Remember that time you came to me? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's all about self-worth, Like
It
I am who I
is.
am, and if you don't like it, that's fine, you know?
I love that. Now, so your parents support everything you do in this industry? I know I met your mom, who is absolutely fabulous. But it has been, do they worry about you at times, or, feel, do they have opinions about certain roles that you play? Because, you're technically an adult now. They don't have to sign off on anything. So how does that work in your household?
They've been beyond supportive. I think I honestly, truthfully have some of the best parents to ever exist, and I
That's
am so
awesome.
grateful for them because I think they would support me no matter what I do as long as I'm being
Mhm,
safe and that kind of thing. I
mhm.
love them to death. But it was hard for them in the beginning because first off, they worried about me being safe, but then they
Right.
also worried about me failing. Not that they wanted me to fail, of course, but
Yes.
there's always that thing in the back of their mind where they're like, yes, of course I will support you 1,000 times, but we're worried. This is a super
Yes.
competitive industry, and
Yeah.
you hear so many negative experiences that
Yeah.
I'm sure it overwhelmed them. Um, but lately, I've been having so many positive experiences that I guess they've kind of realized that, you know what, you're
This.
always going to come to us if you need us, so
Yes.
that's good.
Yes. Yes.
But they've been wonderful, and in terms of like roles that I play, they're usually fine. I
Mhm.
myself don't play roles usually that are promiscuous or
Right.
provocative, just
Right.
because that's not something right now that I would choose to do.
Yeah.
But maybe in the future, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
I love that you think like that too. You kind of keep an open mind, but sometimes I do feel like young people jump so fast into that world that when it comes, at 16 and 17, being considered a sex symbol or whatever, it's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and then to me, it's like sometimes it does bring out an element of, the side of the industry that may be kind of dark, that we
Right.
do hear about. Because I tell people all the time, everybody ain't telling the same lie. There's definitely got to be some of those things that go on in this industry, because we've heard about them in the rumors and everything. But it does feel good to know that you take a stand, because I feel like even with me, I tease everybody a lot. I'm like, hey, this industry, why they coined the term starving artists, because sometimes you'll be starving a long time before you get that big win, right? And so I was telling somebody, with that being said, some people do feel like a sense of desperation, so they'll go out and pick, just anything for $1. And I
Right.
feel really good that I am grounded in the area, that I'm not motivated by money. Look, I was teasing. I said, you can't miss what you never had. Okay. So,
Right.
I tend to be able to stay in purpose, which is awesome. And I love that you take a stand on that. So you were talking about, future projects. And I know you can't tell me, hold on a minute. I thought that I thought I had my do not disturb on, but I guess not. We'll edit that out. Okay.
There we go.
But, we talked about, the fact that you have projects going on right now, and because it's started to become successful. So tell me about some of the ones that you can talk about. And notice, audience, I said some of the ones, which means more than one.
Love it. One of my favorites that I can talk about is called
Mhm.
Vice Squad. And it's partially because I think it's going to make an impact. It's about human trafficking. So I think it's going to bring light to many issues that need to be brought to light.
Yes.
And then I also love it because the character I play is wonderful. Her name is Ryan, and she
Uh-huh.
is kind of a take no crap from anybody kind of girl. And I love that about her. She's confident, and she's a prodigy in her career in her field, and she holds a doctorate in her early 20s. So
That
she's
is
super
awesome.
intelligent. And people try to underestimate her, and she doesn't let that happen. So I think that's wonderful. She's certainly a character that I am very ecstatic to play. Um, Another one, I'm trying to think. Another one is called Dirty Faith. And
Okay. I
it kind
like
of,
that title.
yes,
That's
it
interesting.
kind,
That really is.
mhm. It kind of taps into the more godlike things and more Christian side of it. And it's really, really wonderful. And a lot of it have been like the writing has been my personal experience because I have helped write it. So I've kind of shown my personal experience and kind of scenarios where God has really helped me in ways that I think I have seen God or experienced him inside of me and things that I do. So really excited about those and cannot wait
Yes.
to eventually film them.
That is so awesome. I love that. And so, thinking about the roles that you have to play, how do you prepare for a role? Like, when you decide this is the role that I want, what is your preparation process?
I like to ponder it for a moment. Like, I don't like to look at the script immediately, I guess you could say. I like to kind of think about the synopsis and just kind of orchestrate in my mind where I think the script is going, because it's always like a surprise when I read it because I'm like, oh, this is crazy, not what I expected at all. But I love to read the script and make little notes about my character. And I think it's really easy to kind of get lost in the character and get lost in the script. I think what helps me the most is to look at my character and put her almost in my shoes. Like, what would I do in this moment? Or what would my character do in this moment? And I think it becomes a lot easier to become the character when she is inside of you, so to
Yeah,
speak. Like you can speak through her words.
I
So
love
that's
that.
mhm. That's always been something that has helped me stay in character and help me prepare for the role.
That is absolutely awesome. And as I think about, you and being able to prepare for those roles, when we talk about something like human trafficking, which is huge, and I
Mhm.
think that I know that it's gaining momentum as far as visibility goes, but of course, we live in a world that is very uncomfortable talking about uncomfortable things. We know that,
Right.
right? It's just how it is. With that being said, what type of preparation do you give for something like that? Like, is it important to you to, act in a way that subjects like that are brought to the light? Like, are you actually, what am I trying to say? Like, is that something that attracts you? The fact that it does have this message, in the film. And of course, you are dealing with something that really isn't, something that a lot of people like to talk about because it's so painful.
Right. I feel so drawn to projects that really do bring to light struggles of people, or just things that sort of make an impact on people. I
Mhm.
always feel like one of my purposes in life is to make an impact. That's just something that I've always wanted to do. And I think I can do that through acting in many, many different ways. So I've always been drawn to projects with a purpose, and especially purposes that really help people, or like you said, bring up the uncomfortable, and let people know, hey, we need to be talking about this. So
Yes.
I've always seen projects that do that. They kind of have a special place in my heart, so to speak.
I like that. I do love that. And I do feel like, we have had, our level, especially since the pandemic, of very serious films. So I get it where sometimes we do need that break. A lot of times, we used to say television is a break from reality. So you actually, like, I'm missing the romantic comedies, you know what I mean? And like, just a little light things, because things have gotten so heavy, even in series is now, we're talking about real issues that are going on. We're dealing with racism, we're dealing with, school politics and school and stuff like that. So
Right.
sometimes it just feels good to get a break. But I
Hmm.
do love that we are taking, the acting and the influence that it has to really talk about and bring light to a lot of difficult subjects. It,
Right.
it
Of
Yep,
course.
it really is important. So, with that being said, what's on the horizon for Anna? Like, where would you like to be in the next 10 years? What would you like to be doing? And have you ever thought that you want to do something behind the camera?
In the next 10 years, I hopefully see myself living in Los Angeles, because that is my ideal place to live, which is so cliche to say as an actress, but it is the case.
It's the place to be.
That is definitely the place to be. Um, I think I just want to see myself there, and I'm really excited to see myself there. As for behind the camera things, I have always said I want to do every single odd job in the industry, whether that means directing or anything. It doesn't really matter. I just want to do something. I enjoy doing anything involving the industry, and I've always said that yes, acting is my dream and my passion, but in order to get better at acting, I think you have to do all of these little jobs, because first of all, it's a great experience. But second of all, when you're a director or you're a producer, you know what to expect from actors. And I
Yes.
think if you're living vicariously through these directors, you're almost like, well, this is going to further help my acting career in one way or another.
Yes.
I'm actually writing a script, which I'm super excited about, haven't done before. And I'm really immersed in it right now, and very,
Mhm.
very excited to see where it goes. So I'm excited for the future, needless to
Well,
say.
congratulations. That is a huge,
Thank
huge
you.
accomplishment. And I definitely wish you all the best with that.
Thank
I do
you.
understand exactly what you mean, because as I started this journey, I kid you not, all I wanted to do was interview people. Like the
Mhm.
business side, I didn't want to get involved with. I didn't really know anything about the production side at all. Like I took cute selfie pictures, and that was my claim to fame. And I have evolved into being an author. I do editing, light editing. I do production now. I literally have written, now I've been a part of 5 book projects, and I have 2 more to go that have done pretty well, with me doing minimal advertising on them. So imagine when I really start this book tour and things that I need to
Right.
do. And I've now become a speaker. So it really has catapulted me into a whole arena. So I do understand what you're saying, because now when I edit something or when I look at something, it's because I know what I'm trying to put in there. I know what I want to see. And I, eventually probably will get certified and get some, credentials behind me in that arena as well, because it definitely will make you more marketable, period.
Exactly.
I'm loving to see the new women directors that we've been having up and coming. And some of those films have been thebomb.com. So really, really excited and glad that you're even thinking, forward like that. And normally I wouldn't ask a 19-year-old that question, but you are so grounded at such a young age.
Thank you.
I felt
Thank
like
you.
you could handle it. So
yeah.
With that being said, let me tell you, this has been an absolutely amazing interview. It has been an honor having you on my show, really, because I just love seeing you do great things. You're so beautiful. You have such a beautiful spirit. And so thank you for representing young people very, very well. And so I want you to tell them what you can tell them about what's going on, how they can follow you, how they can support you, and a word of encouragement before we, say goodbye today.
Thank you so much for having me. You can follow me on Instagram at official Anna Stadler, or you can follow me on Facebook at just Anna Stadler. You can follow me there. I like to update people on my life in general. I like to update people on acting, just kind of a multitude of reasons why I use it. I love to connect with people. I love making new friends. So definitely you can find me there. Word of encouragement, never give up. And I know that sounds kind of cliche, like I said, but it's so important in life in general. And it's so important whether you're in the acting industry, you're in the directing industry, or you're just going through life, just never give up. I think that's truthfully one of the best bit of advice that I was given when I first started this. And I think you can use it in many different ways in life.
Yeah, I love that. And let me tell you, that is so true. And it really does still hold to be probably number one in this industry, because I think honestly, this industry is what separates the men from the mice. I really believe that you will know once you get in here whether you feel like this is worth it or not, because it is not easy. People think that you just wake up one morning and you just do these things. No, ma'am, it is a grind, and you have to convince people to buy into you, and to believe what it is you want them to get out of what you do. And that may seem like it is very easy, but that cliche, because you're probably going to want to quit more than you want to stay, connected, because you'll go through those spurts that really challenge you and challenge your mentality. I've said that a million times. And it's not even to compare yourself to anybody, but sometimes you'll feel like you're just moving, and nothing is taking place. And then all of a sudden, bam, things start, lining up all at the same time. But if you had given up, you would have never seen that success. And I can honestly say that, for myself as well. So thank you so much for that great advice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. You guys know what it is. I know you were excited about this show and each and every Angela Foxworth show. And I'm just so excited. So you know how to reach out and look for me. I'm at A Fox Radio on Instagram, or The Real A Fox. On Facebook, I am Angela Collins Foxworth, if you want to get into my personal business. But if you just want to know about the show, I'm at The Angela Foxworth Show. And of course, for all other things, just go to www.theafoxshow.com. And remember, life with a fox is truly living outside the box. And I am always interviewing with a purpose. You guys have an absolutely wonderful evening until we see each other again.
Living outside the box. A fox. Living outside the box with a fox. Living outside the box. A fox. Living outside the box with a fox. Living outside the box. A fox. Living outside the box with a fox. Living outside the box. Yeah. Living outside the box.
Yeah. The show is right where you wanna be. Bringing in new topics just for you and me. You see, we motivate and educate when we speak. A Fox is quite the anomaly. So follow me as we meet people, reach people, teach people. Black lives matter cause we all equal. Yeah, live your life cause it matters. It's A Fox serving life on a platter.
living outside the box, living outside the box with a fox, living outside the box,
A fox,
living outside the box, a fox, living outside the box,
A fox,
living outside the box,
A fox,
living outside the box,
A fox.
living outside the box.